The Dream Quest. Now, this is the only copy. If you got this during its campaign, whatever, good for you. Kudos to you. Because I am never publishing this book again as it is. Because, oh goodness. Again, like this, not available anymore.
Hello and welcome to I Night, a safe space on the internet where I share my art, my chill gaming content, as well as things around the internet that I delight in, such as Goblin Core and Bloom Core. I'm your host, I Night, and I welcome you to my cozy channel.
This book, I love it so much. I absolutely adore it. But the person who wrote this book did not realize that this is not supposed to be a coloring book. This is an art book. It's just an art book. And I just don't know if anybody would ever want to buy an art book by me. So I have again unpublished this book, and I am going to work on the pages and see how to make it make sense, and I'm going to republish it in a completely different way as a completely different book. It's still going to be Dream Quest. It's going to be like Dream Quest 2.0 or whatever, but I'm going to make it make sense, because right now as it is, it's like an expression piece. It doesn't really make sense. However, I love it. I love it so much, and that's why I think it would be valuable to do a walkthrough of it, because this is probably the only interaction you're ever going to have with this book. Yeah, well, this version of the book. So one of the things I chose to do immediately was I chose to have cream colored pages. You can see that's the white and it's cream, and I really loved it. And I think one of my highlights of making this book was the fact that the ones who did get it during my crowdfunding campaign, that was not a success, which is why but that's fine, because I kind of like realized later on that I think it was a good thing that it wasn't a success. I really needed to do way more and to work way harder on the idea, and I was much younger at the time when I did make it. 2016, that's when I made it, so yeah. So it was supposed to be like, this is the Dream Quest of so and so, whoever was to purchase it. You're supposed to write your name and everything, and you start with the climb. So you're supposed to envision yourself as the main character, as the girl, and then of course color, but it's too difficult to color it. Like, I do feel like you could color this. I really do. I feel like you could just take some color pencils and turn this into an amazing piece of art, but based on the struggles I saw, I think it becomes very overwhelming, because you have to work in the contrast in your favor and use color pencils and markers in such a way that, firstly, it doesn't bleed through all the other pages, and secondly, it comes out with a good result. So my idea was sorry, just imagine like this is a piece of paper, you put it in between, and then you could work on it, and like the paper behind absorbs the bleed. But honestly, I think it might be just too much work and hassle, and it might not be as relaxing an experience as you as I might like it to be. So yeah, again, a lot of contrast, not ideal for a coloring book. Okay, so as you can see, she's bleeding out. Basically, she's been bleeding out this whole entire time, and as she goes into this cave, strange, warped illustrations, she eventually relinquishes the bleeding organ or whatever it is into the pond deep inside the depths of the cave. So yeah, again, you could color this. Would you color this? Let me know in the comment section below. there's just way too much contrast. That's, I think, a big thing that I learned, and that's why when I created Color That Burger, I went in a completely different direction, and I made sure that there was a lot less contrast and a lot more focus on different styles of burgers rather than a whole storyline like what I did here. Next, we have her looking down, and I thought this one was such a bad page at the time because I thought, oh my god, all the lines are so simple. But later on, I realized actually this would have been a much better style to go with for the whole book because there's a lot more opportunity for you to color and to have freedom of expression compared to like this one, or especially this one, which is high contrast everywhere. Yeah, so you can see the heart is falling down deep into the ocean floor. And the heart actually turns into a dagger. So I was really stoked about this page. I spent hours drawing all of those tiny details, and I kept on referencing to aquatic life and corals to really get the different textures and the different vibes so that I really create something that is unique and realistic. And so here we have the dive. So I kind of imagine that years later she returns back to retrieve the heart that she lost. And at this point, I think when I was planning out the pages, a lot of people, when I was showing them the pages, were saying the first few pages was really dark. So I tried to make sure that these pages were more like a coloring book. But I think at this point, when you start off like this, and then you're taken to this, it's such a huge contrast. I felt like my book started to get a bit disjointed. And then it doesn't help that I decided to do this, where I could have just reflected the sky into the sea. I kind of wanted to do something different as per usual, and it doesn't quite translate, but I do think it's a beautiful, beautiful picture. And this is her diving further down into the deep. You can really see how detailed I got trying to draw this coral. It was fun. It was fun at the time. All the little dots and everything. And there we go. This has got to be one of my favorite pages. Finally seeking the dagger, going back for the root, the heart of the problem, you could say. And then now with dagger somewhere, I can't remember where I had placed it on this human's body, but they have it. Well, actually, I think I forgot to even draw it, right? Or at least maybe it was turning into foam. As you know, it gives you the opportunity to decide what you want there. It could be a heart, it could be anything. She's holding on to something. Honestly, it's been so many years. I don't remember exactly what was going through my mind when I created this. So yeah, I say I forgot to draw it, but now that I think about it, I think, yeah, I wanted it to be less about me and my symbolism and more about what the viewer, what the user of the book wants it to be. Yeah, here we have it. So as it is, it never even stays the same. It turns into something else. So yeah, it really is based on your own interpretation of what it is and what it will become. The desert. Now I kind of feel like the desert is a completely different stage in life. And also, I was a little bit obsessed over watching movies that were happening or taking place in the desert. So there was also a period of time when I was reading and writing this story called Silent Within These Walls. And so a lot of the imagery here is reminiscent of like the story I was building there, as well as the movies and the stories I was reading about desert life and the sand and tents and wonderful things like that. So yeah, again, you're approached with this very intricate high contrast design, and I kind of feel like I wish I had just made a full color book at this point, because I can color this. I know how it should be colored and I know what it should look like, and I feel like it would be beautiful if I did color it. But it's been so many years and I've moved on to other projects, and so I won't color it, but you can kind of see where I was going with this. I wanted it to be like an adventure. This is the interior. Now, all I can say about this is that I was getting very, very good. I was getting very good at my duplication tool. Duplicating things was the highlight of my life, I think, at this point, and I think this was quite a few years after I started here. This was all hand drawn, and as we kept on going, it got more and more digitalized, and so you can see, like, I hand drew this part, but this was all just replication. Oh yeah. And this reminds me of, like, at the time I was studying, I was in art school, and I was tasked to design the outside of a building, and I designed the dragon. I didn't win. I didn't get the job, but I really fell in love with the dragon design that I created, and that's why the dragon appeared here, both in the night sky and in the desert sand. Oh yeah, and I was a little bit obsessed over topography. This was really fun. It was really fun to create. I really love this. And I guess it's like, either you can interpret it as you as the character have found your way to a higher calling, or that the calling that you let go all these years later came back to you, but in a more matured form, because you yourself have matured over time as well. Yeah, so embracing that maturity and it turning into something more, something beautiful, more like you. Yeah. I'm not really sure whether a child is specifically what I mean here. I don't think so. I think the child could be like a thing of your own creation, but precious to you, just like a child would be precious to a mother or a father, a parent. Yeah. So as you can see, it's not it just being about being a child, it's creation itself, and then letting that go again. And so there's the butterfly, symbolizing the soul, the spirit, flying back through all the memories, all the places that you've been before, going through all the areas that you traversed through, and going to someplace new. And after all these years, you discover a well of life itself. You never knew you were looking for. And so I feel like finally, after all of that, here we come to a page which I actually think would be a decent coloring book page. The lines are not too thin, they're not too thick. The design is quite legible, and there's freedom of expression without compromising the overall look and feel of the page. And then that's the end. So yeah, that's credits. Yanny. But ta-da, that's it. Okay, so yeah, this is the book in itself. As I said, I am not going to be selling this exact book ever again. Those who have it had it. And honestly, when I was running the campaign, one of the people who supported me, their mother was in serious critical condition. They had cancer. And it just broke my heart to think like this person who is in such a crisis is literally supporting and backing my book. And after they received it, they said that it helped them. And okay, sure, perhaps my book doesn't make any sense, but the whole reason why I created it was to give you a chance, an opportunity to every single day do one thing that just reflects on your life's purpose, whether it makes sense or not. That's really what this book was about, and that's why it's going to come back. It's going to be reincarnated as an art book where there's no pressure to color it. I'm gonna fill it up with poems, with thoughts, with my own life experience to really fully flesh it out. And much like the pages itself, I basically want to welcome it back into my life and watch it turn into something new and beautiful and release it back into the world so that if anyone else is out in the desert looking for oasis, a book like mine might be just the thing to just give some comfort and some insight into a life outside of your own. So yeah, thank you for joining me for this flipbook experience. It's odd going back through some of the old things that I made years ago when I was like 26, 25, I'm now in my 30s. I'm 32 this year. And I haven't done anything like this, Sometimes I feel like I was way more productive when I was younger. But having said that, I want to honor what 20-something I did and make it better. Maybe not make something new, but make what she did make sense. Because she was trying to say something, and now I finally feel like I have the words to finish the sentence that she started. So yeah, if you like this book, you can actually check out Tapastic, where I have some pages. I think all the pages plus additional poems. However, it's still not the full Dream Quest. And I think in future, when I finally finish making the Dream Quest make sense, I will remove it from Tapastic because it will be outdated. There'll be more things I'll add and some things I'll take away. So I'll publish that Dream Quest finally, and that will be the last edition until further notice. Maybe when I 50-year-old comes around, like, 30-year-old you were kind of a dud. We'll see then. But as far as I am concerned, 30-year-old is concerned, yeah, I'm gonna try my best to make up for what she couldn't and finish it the way I believe she would have wanted it finished. With that, may your days be magical, and I'll see you in the next time. Bye bye.